I knew I definitely did something wrong. Something was wrong. Like, I knew it wasn't good. I didn't, want to speculate it was ACL, but after that, I went back into the locker room and the Atlanta United doctors came in. One of them kind of does the knee test on me, checks it out, and I was just like, hey, look, tell me like straight up, what do you think is going on, And he was like, I think you tore your ACL.
You have an insanely cool journey, and I think as an American soccer player, it oftentimes gets missed when guys really truly go from every ring of the U.S. soccer system, even though it's not like considered a pyramid. Like, we have very similar pathways. What's been so impressive about yours is like how it's just gotten better and better each year. So like, rewind, you make the leap from USL to DC. Obviously I was there when you got the call and you were buzzing.
If you go back to February, like when I got that call to come to DC, it's something that I didn't think would ever happen. Caught me off guard, and I'll never forget the coach at the time in Tampa pulled me outside and he's like, hey, we've got a call and a transfer agreement to send you to DC. He's like, I'd really encourage you to go. I always want players to move on to the next level. And so I remember going home and telling my wife, and she was like 8 months pregnant at the time.
Small detail.
Yeah, 8 months pregnant at the time. We packed up our whole house in 3 days and then flew up here to DC. And then we start the season for a home opener. I get subbed in. We're up 1-0, and I'm standing on the line to get subbed in, and they score. New England Revolution scores, Carlos Hill scores, and it's 1-1, and I'm standing there like, oh God, like we just conceded a goal, like momentum's kind of flipped, and then, probably 10 minutes later, I get a header assist to Benteke. It's just like, everything that was like the craziness of moving up here and having a really pregnant wife and trying to get plugged into a hospital and trying to get moved into a home and expecting a child soon. It was so much, and it all felt worth it in that moment. Fast forward to May, by this point I'd played in several games and started a few. And we traveled down to Atlanta, where I'm from, and I had probably 50 to 60 people at the game. All my family, like everyone's up there, and from my Nana to my 2-month-old niece. And so that was just a crazy full circle moment for me. I got subbed in at halftime, and in the 92nd minute, ended up tearing my ACL, which was, in our job, it's probably the worst thing. Like, one of the worst things that can happen is an injury like that, especially I think with how hard that I had worked to get to that point in my career and try to, I finally made it and I finally got my chance, and then that happens. It was tough. But then, I was kind of faced with a decision. I was like, all right, are you just gonna mope about it, or are you gonna get through it? And, thankfully I have like an unbelievable wife and support group, and, I was able to get through that injury, and now I've played like 30 plus games in MLS now. So coming back from that was really difficult, but when I look back on it, I think it's grown me not only as a player, but as a person as well. Everyone talks about an ACL from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint, it's extremely tough as well. So for me, it was the people I was surrounding myself with, and then just trying to stay positive as well is kind of what helped me get through it.
What's it like? Because the 3 days, I feel like post-injury, so many emotions and so many thoughts come in through your head, like how long, how's this gonna affect day-to-day? When am I gonna be healthy again? Will I ever get back to like normal?
The 3 days after it happened, I think, after I got an MRI and it was confirmed I tore my ACL, one of my first questions was like, all right, like when can we get surgery? I want to get surgery, I want to get started on this, I want to be ready to go as soon as I possibly can. And so we were able to chat with the doctors and get surgery pretty quickly. I got it like a week and a half maybe after the injury, which was great. But I knew, and Hannah knew as well, my wife, that the first couple months were going to be really tough as well. And this goes to something that I say all the time. The person you marry is like one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your life. And I definitely wouldn't, have been able to get through that as well as I did, without her. We had just had a kid, and, I'm essentially turning into another kid because I'm,
Yeah.
I'm like non-weight bearing for so long. I can't walk, I can't put pressure on my knee. I'm like either bedridden or couch ridden. She's having to cook all the meals. She's having to take care of our 3 kids.
New place.
New townhome. We don't know where we're living at. She had a lot, to deal with, and that was tough. I'll never be able to tell her how thankful I am for her for that. But the reason I'm able to be who I am is because of her.
Yeah.
And that was like a perfect example of just like the sacrifice that I think, our wives go through sometimes when it comes to us in the sport we play. Something I remember towards the end of my rehab, this would have been in 2025, at the beginning of season of 2025. I remember sitting in the stands with a couple of the other guys who weren't playing, still rehabbing and recovering from my injury. And I remember watching the game and thinking to myself, like, man, the ball is moving so fast. Like, these guys are moving so quick. Like, these guys are, am I gonna be able to do this again? Like, these thoughts went through my head, and I never ever thought that would happen. I never thought that I'd question my ability or my athleticism. But I was. I remember like getting my boots on for the first time and just doing some simple cone drills and thinking to myself, like, man, this is hard. Like, this is difficult for me. I feel like I'm relearning this type of stuff. And that wasn't necessarily it. It was just, I needed to take it slowly and, build up to, full strength and full speed. And eventually I got to that point, but I'll never forget sitting in the stands thinking, doubting myself, really. Like, am I gonna be able to do this again? This is my job. This is like, what I'm so passionate about. Am I gonna be able to step on the field at a high level and play? Eventually I was able to get that opportunity in Philadelphia. I got subbed in for like the last 10 minutes of a game, and we lost 3-0, but man.
I remember you smoking someone down the left side.
Yeah, I did.
Down.
I had some good minutes, but it was a loss for the team, but what a victory, I think, for myself and my family, just to like get back on the field. And for my mental health, it was a big deal, just to be out there. And then the very next game, I was able to start against Colorado at home, and we won, which was huge. I played, I only played 65 minutes because I'm obviously still working back from huge time off. But it was emotional for me to like even just be on the field again. I was just so grateful.
Man, this has been a lot to me. I love you guys. I really appreciate all of you pushing me every day. I worked really hard, and I'm really happy to be out here. I love you guys. I'm glad we won. Yeah!
How has your perspective shifted, and like what's something you can say to someone who's maybe going through a difficult time or injury?
Yeah. You can't take any day for granted, like that you're healthy. Like one day you have it, one day you don't. Sometimes, I'll wake up and I'll have like a back injury sometimes or whatever it may be, and you forget how important your back is until it starts hurting, right? I think for me, it was just doing everything I possibly could to make sure I keep my body in the best shape I can and to stay healthy, and to just never take that for granted. I think some advice I'd give for somebody going through an injury or dealing with mental health is, the people you surround yourself with is so important. The people that are pouring into you and speaking life into you and encouraging you, that's what's gonna help you through it. Show up every day on the days that you even don't want to. There's so many days in the off season where it was 7 degrees outside and I'd be here at the facility, putting my boots on, my pants, I'd be all by myself. And I'd go out there with a trainer and we would do work every day. So I think just continuing to be consistent in the work that you're trying to do, because there's a goal at the end of this. And having a clear vision of what that goal is. And those were the things that got me through this. That was genuinely it.